Now we are going to start call by value and call by reference. There are two methods to pass the data into the function in C language. First is a call by value and call by reference. What is this call by value? In call by value, the value of the actual parameter is copied to the formal parameters. And in other words, we can say the value of a variable is used in the function call. It is used in the function call. We cannot modify the value of the actual parameter. So, in call by value, different memory is allocated for actual and formal parameter since the value of the actual parameter is copied to the formal parameter. Here, what is this actual parameter and formal parameter? Actual parameters is the arguments which is used in the function call, whereas formal parameter is the argument which is used in the function definition. Now, to explain this call by value and call by reference, I am using this example of swapping the value of two variables. Yes. This is our program, call by value and call by reference. Means in call by value, calling a function by passing values as parameter. As the name suggests, calling a function by passing values as a parameter. Here, we are creating a main function void main. Then after int a is equals to 10, b is equals to 20, two variables are declared and initialized to value a is equals to 10 and b is equals to 20. Now, in some memory space, it will for two variables the memory will be allocated in the main frame in the main function. Okay, so these are two variables and like 2046 is the memory allocation which is allocated to the variable integer type, and what data it is stored, what is the value inside a is equals to 10 and b is equals to 20. So this is our calling function. This is technically we are naming this function is as a calling function. Now printf before swap, this is for tab space, percentage d a comma b. Which value we want to print? A comma b. Means before swapping we want to print a comma b. Now again swap a comma b. What values? This we are just creating a function called function swap a comma b. So for this function, some memory will be allocated in the memory space swap and void swap int x comma y. These are the local variables which we are declared inside inside the function local variables int x comma int y. Means x and y are of type integer type. Now swapping member x, we are just allocating the value of x into temp. So there is also a temp variable. And now call call by value means we are just copying the value. We are just calling by the value. So what are the values in a and b? A is equals to 10 and b is equals to 20. So when this function will call, when this function will execute, then it will copy the value of a will be copied into x and the value of b will be copied into y. Then what will be the value? In this, x is equals to 10 and y is equals to 20 into the memory space. There is some memory location 7002 9052. Okay, and x and y, which we are declared as a local variables, it will allocate some memory space and the what values it is copied from a and b 10 and 20. Now x is equals to 10 and y is equals to 20. Okay, we are just doing swapping. So what we are doing, x, the value of x we are just copying into temporary variable. Means one temporary variables we are also initialized. This is a temp variable and what value we want to store? X value. And what is the value in x? 10. So 10 will store into the temporary variable. Okay, now in this line Y value we want to allocate to X. Means what is the value of Y? Y value is 20. Means what is the value in Y? 20. We want to allocate this value into X. So 10 will replace and it is updated by the value 20. Okay. Now 10 value is allocated to 5. Then what is the value in 10? 10. We are just reserve this value 10 in some temporary variable. Now we want to move this 10 to the value into the y. So in place of 20, what value will it will retrieve? 10. So swapping is done. Printf after swapping, what value it will return as x comma y, 20 and 10, because now these value are the updated value. Okay, now the question is, if we want to print after swap, means we want to print the values here only after the swap function. So what value it will print? A comma b or x comma y? A comma b or x comma y? Means what are the values in A and B now? A and B contain the same value 10 and 20, which are the previous values. Now the values are changed in the called function. What values are changed? Now the value of x and y is 20 and 10. So because we cannot, if we want to print the values x comma y, but we can't access x and y, these x and y, because we want to print here and we are declared x and y inside the swap function, means inside the function. So x and y are the local variables. We can't access local variable of one function from the another function. Means here main function is the calling function and swap function is the called function. So in the called function, if we process the data, that will affect only local variables. If you in the called function, this is our called function. If we want to process the data, that will affect only local variables. It will affect only local variables, mean int x and y. Okay, it will not affect the calling variable function. It will not affect this one. It will not affect any change in the calling variable function. So once you process the data in the called function, then you can access only within the called function. I am repeating, once you process the data in the called function, which is the called function, this is the called function, that you can access only within the called function, means x and y you can only print, means we can print x and y here only, swap function, in the within the swap function. But whenever we are trying to access in the calling function, it is not allowed. This is the problem in the call by value concept. This is the problem. To avoid this problem after processing anywhere in the application, if I want to access from calling function as well as from the call function, to avoid this problem, uh, after processing anywhere in the application, and I want to access from calling functions as well as from the call function. So to rectify this problem, they introduce the concept of call by reference. Means to rectify which type of problem, if I want to access the data, or if I want to process from anywhere in the application, means I want to access from calling function as well as call function. So this is the disadvantage of call by value. We can only access the data from the call function without affect the calling function. So to avoid this problem or to rectify this problem, they introduce the concept of call by reference. Now in call by reference, this is our program for call by reference means we are passing the address. By using the pointers, we are just passing the address of the variable, not the value. In call by value, we are passing the values. Here a comma b, what are the values we are passing? The value of a is passing to x, the value of b is passing to y. But here we will pass We will use the pointer variables here because pointer variables are used to hold the address of other variables. Okay, now we will hold the address. Now this void main, we are creating a main function. Int a is equals to 10, b is equals to 20, and these are two integer variables. Printf before swap a comma b. So inside the main function, some memory allocation is allocated to the main function and having some variables a and b. A and b are two variables. This is, and what are the value inside the, at some memory location 20464058. Okay, this 4058, and this is the memory address 2046, for example, just consider. And what are the value we are storing in a, 10 and 20. Okay, now before swapping it will print like a comma b. What it will print? It will print 10 and 20. Now we are just creating swap function, and inside the swap function, what we are passing? Address of a, address of b we are passing. Okay, we are just calling this function. So for this called function, what is like void swap int pointer x, int pointer y. We are passing here in swap function, we are just passing the address to another person. So A and B will get memory allocation. A and B will get memory allocation here. Okay, now I am calling swap function address of A, address of B. Okay, now void swap int pointer x, int pointer y. What type of variable holding address? What type of variables holding the address? Pointer variable holds the address. So A is type. A is what type? A is here. A is the type. What the? It is of integer type. So we are just declaring typed pointer. Only we have to declare. Means integer data is pointing by integer pointer. So we are declaring int x pointer x, int pointer y. So for this we have to write a prototype for this. This is the, so we have to declare. So here we will declare means void swap int pointer comma int pointer. This is the prototype. This is the prototype. Okay. Now because we are we want to, this a and b are type of integer. So come to this int temp means pointer x is stored into temporary variables. Means here we are, what we are doing, address of a we are passing to x, address of a. So what is the address of a? 2046 is the address of a, and we are passing it to the pointer x. What is the address of b? 4058. We are passing this address to the y. So this is the part up to this point. Now pointer x is, we want to store in temp variable. Then what is the pointer x? Pointer x containing the address. 2046 is the address, not the value. So x pointer points to a. What x pointer points to the location 2046, and at 2046 what value it is stored? 10. So temp variable will store 10. So in next line x is next line y is equals to what? Y is equals to 4058, and pointer y, this is the pointer y is equals to 20. Means 4058 is the address and y pointer points to 4058, and if this location, what data is stored? 20. So it points to y is equals to 20. Now temp is equals to y. So it will swap the values. Means here, what value we are just pointing, what after swapping, what value it will print? It will print what is the value now in x. What's the value in x now? The x is equals to 20 and y is equals to 10. Okay, so this is the call by reference. Here we are passing address to another person. So in called function, whenever we process the information, it will affect in the calling function. It will affect the calling function. Okay. We are processing in the called function. We are processing here, but it affect the calling function. It is affecting the calling function. Okay. Means at whose what value we at x pointer, what is the x pointer points to the 10 value. 10 is stored into temp variable. Okay. Now y pointer point, we are just storing the 20 value into the x. X means now the value of x is 20, and again the value 10 is allocated to y. Then what is the value 10 contain? 10, and 10 is allocated to y. Means now y is equals to 10. Swapping is done. Now initially, what is the value of a is equals to 10 and b is equals to 20. This is the swapping. And now if we want to print the value here also, then it affects in both of the functions. Means now these value are also got updated. Okay, so this is the part for call by value and call by reference.